Welcome to another edition of the Critical Beard Podcast. I am
Beard
the Cardinal, and this is
a meatball.
And we're here to take you on a crazy ride of gabs and gabbing about
That's
crazy video game stuff.
That sounded like one of those morning zoo talk shows. We need to make a mock-up like morning zoo like intro. Be like, welcome to the Cardinal and the meatball in the morning.
Cardinal, and the meatball.
I need to get a little soundboard going of morning zoo sound effects.
Oh, stuff's real bad here, folks.
We gotta pile up on I-69.
Oh gosh. So we're here to gab right at you. We got a couple of things to gab about, and let me just spoilers. It's about some video games because we're here to talk video games. You're here to listen about video games. We are. I mean, we're going to start with a little segment that I like to call "What You Playing."
What are you playing?
What are you playing?
What am I playing? Well, I finished
Meatball.
I finished Xenogears.
Meatball. Can I
finish Xenogears?
Hold on. Can I stop? Can I stop you?
No, you can't stop.
What are you playing?
Nothing. So I finished Xenogears.
I've heard of it.
It is great.
Would you call it Xenogrades?
It's so good. It's so good. So good. Maybe you'll get to play it soon.
I am going to try real hard. Got a PSP.
It's like either $10 or $8.
But not $9. It's definitely
Not $9.
There's nowhere in
real.
hell it is $9.
Well, you notice that with marketing, it's always like $7.99, $9.99.
Yeah.
It's never $8.99.
Unless it's a weird sale or something.
Yeah, unless it's like taking like 12% off sale. What? Okay.
12% off. Like, would y'all have the deal of the day for GameStop today or whatever was like Battlefield 1 for $1. It was $1. I was like,
Battlefield.
How is anyone making money off of that?
Did that game not sell?
It did, actually. Battlefield 1 did really well. Battlefield 5 didn't sell.
Or V?
Yeah, Battlefield V.
We're going to suddenly switch to Roman numerals.
Mm-hmm. The game doesn't even the game doesn't even take place in Rome. You know what I mean? Like, be consistent and stuff. You know what I mean?
Idiots. Animal Crossing. I just got my 5-star island.
Whoa. I have a 2-star island, and
You're a
they
loser.
don't like me.
Don't talk to me.
That's
Eon. Podcast over.
I'm out.
And I'm still tweaking my island and stuff. So
I like the way that sentence happened.
Love tweaking my island. Just like that river. Just a little.
It's just
The cliffside is just a little. There we go. Perfect.
Nudge her over.
And Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition came out.
So wait,
Friday?
You beat one Xeno game and you just run on to another like some sort of slap?
I know. It's like I just finished the best one of the series, and now I starting up. I don't know.
We're gonna change your name from the meatball to Xeno Slut.
No, it'd be it'd be like metal Xeno Slut.
That you should start a new channel.
That sounds like the worst edgelord like handle ever. It needs to like a lot of underscores and zeros.
Oh yeah,
you
need to get 69 in there.
Well, I mean, I already threw one in there earlier, but I can get another one in there.
Nice. Can't ever have too many. That's the truth, John.
Math. And that's it.
Cool. I've heard of all of those games.
It's good.
And I've heard they all have fan bases.
Continue.
That was all I had to say, John.
People like them.
So I'm playing, me personally, been playing Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition.
Interesting. What are the odds?
Yeah, crazy, right? We were both playing that. Like
The Monado.
Dude, I saw someone was talking about it was like the one drinking game that you will definitely die, and it's like if you drink every time they say the Monado, like
yeah, even just
you'll be
Shulk
dead.
saying,
They're like you'll be dead before you even get the Monado. Like
the Monad die, you're dead.
The Monadai. It's upgrading. It's becoming the Monadai. Fiona.
Fiora.
Dunban. Fiona Apple.
Fiona Apple.
Music.
I'm a criminal.
Fiona Dunban. When you play this game, you'll realize that it has some very very British stuff
for reasons.
It's just the British. I feel like it's like it's like the first like anime ass like RPG that had like all just like straight British voice acting.
Modern British, yes, yeah.
I mean, because like
12 had some of the,
12, that's right.
Like Middle English style. A lot of the characters
really liked the voice acting in 12.
Oh, 12 had some of the best.
I
you know
why
Xenoblade had British voice work though?
I actually almost watched a video that said, "Why is Xenoblade so British?" And it was like,
I made that video. I'm just kidding.
Oh my god, are you Xenoblade?
XOXO69.
Why was it?
Well, I'm sure you're familiar with Operation Rainfall.
I am. Trace RPGs came to the States due to a campaign.
Yep, everyone wanted these 3G RPGs to come over to the Wii because the Wii had 0 RPGs.
Yeah.
Wii was
it's kind of weird because the Wii, you'd think that would have a lot because it was a disc-based media. It was Nintendo. And, you know, like even GameCube had a decent amount of JRPGs, but like, I mean, not a lot, not like PS1 or anything or PS2, but like, you know
I feel like the Nintendo hasn't fully recovered from the maybe from the Switch. They finally are recovering from their JRPG loss from the Super Nintendo days because they were kings, man. We're kings. Then Square left. But yes, because the part of the Nintendo that was pushing for these translations was Nintendo of Europe. So when they finally got it approved, Nintendo of Europe decided to use British actors because most of Europe speaks English and European, I mean, English, not American English, you know, the real English. The King's English.
The King's English.
King's English. Yeah, something like that. Like, it's interesting to think about it. Like, if it would have been localized by Nintendo of America, it would have had like just normal voiceovers.
It probably would have been bad. It probably would have been worse. Just because I just think in general, British voice acting has a little more class to it. Like it just has a.
Yeah, I mean that's
maybe,
just like
maybe it's just my bias.
Ear. Yeah, it's just our ear. Because I mean, yeah, it's like
I don't know.
It's like Star Wars. Like all the villains all have British accents. And it's just like there's something about like,
and all the good guys are like, hey,
I'm from like a sand.
Good. I'm from Tatooine. Definitely.
Tatooine. I need to pick up some power converters.
You guys got power converters or nothing?
I need to go to Tachi Station, bro.
So, also playing a little bit of Overwatch. Again, I got back into it. They released the new hero. That's a game that I just sort of periodically like jump back into. So I downloaded it on the Switch. I've been playing that version.
Oh man, I forgot that came out on the Switch.
Yeah, and
how much is it going for? Full price?
No, it's $40.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it comes with a 3-month Nintendo Online.
Okay. That's wow.
Yeah, so it's and then it goes on sale fairly often, I think too. But yeah, it's so much smoother than I thought. I didn't want to download it because I was like, I don't know. But it's kind of one of those games I don't want to have it physically because that's not a game that I want to be like, I'm going to play that and I'm going to play a big chunk of it. It's like a game where I just want to pop in and play one match, you know? So I don't want to like own a cart or anything.
Yeah, but, like, having to take it out, put it back in the thing.
Yeah, because I'm not going to take out my 100-hour RPG to play this game for 20 minutes. But No, I mean it runs really smooth on the Switch. Like it's crazy, and I'm like,
Nice.
and there's full voice chat like support. Like you can, it's built in from Blizzard, but it plays smooth. Yeah, it's 30. People are like, oh, it's only 30 frames per second. I'm like, it's on the Switch. I'm playing this on handheld mode.
Yeah, I'm sick of the like. There's like anti 30 FPS brigade. It's like, really, we should be happy that some games even get solid 30.
If I was playing an online game like that on my PS4 Pro, and I would expect it to be 60 frames per second, but I'm playing it on a handheld device for the love of God. I mean, so that's surprisingly good. Having a lot of fun with it, a lot of new characters and stuff. Also playing the BioShock collection.
How many games can one man play?
How many games were putting me to the test? Mainly playing Xenoblade, but I'm dabbling in BioShock, and I'm gonna have. Hopefully, we'll have an impressions video up for you guys later on in the week, John.
BioShock, that's a new IP, right?
Yes, brand new, straight out of Compton.
Blap, blap, blap.
No, BioShock is brand new. No, it's the collection. It's the BioShock 1 and 2 from the 360 and PS3, and then BioShock Infinite from the 360 and the PS3. And they all, like 1 and 2 have aged, like are great on the Switch. Like they're so good. Like there's no drop frames.
I love that you can buy them separately on the eShop. I might just buy. I'm probably just gonna buy the first one because that's the only one I actually enjoy replaying. To tell you the truth.
Yeah, I like having the collection, but similar thing with Borderlands. They released that huge collection that's got a lot of downloads. But I'm like, I don't really want to play the Telltale Borderlands. I don't really want to play. I don't want to play Borderlands 1 again. I don't want to play Borderlands 2.5 or Borderlands what's that? The one weird iteration that's not even made by Guild.
Oh, pre-sequel.
Pre-sequel.
Yeah.
I don't. And what's weird is so you can buy the Handsome collection by itself. So you don't have to buy 1 and the Telltale, but you have to buy the pre-sequel with Borderlands 2. I'm like, just let me play Borderlands 2.
Yeah.
I just want to play the
2 is the best one.
They're all the same fucking game. It's just one of them is the best one. And arguably, in my opinion, 2 is still better than 3. Fight me.
Yeah, I didn't play 3. I was like, oh, it's more the same, but not as good. Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna play that one.
It's the same game with better like updated controls and graphics, but like the writing's way.
Do they have split screen?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I wonder how that plays on handheld mode.
I know.
That's a cool test.
I didn't think about doing 4-player like split screen on handheld.
How does that even is that even possible?
Can you do 4-player split screen, or is it only 2-player?
You could on. I think the PS4 release. I think it was 4 split, which is just an incredible feat. Just like wow.
Oh, I love incredible feat.
Well, I've got 4 of them. Wait.
Yeah, really impressed with the BioShock collection right now. Like I said, I'm gonna do another video on that one. We'll have that up later this week, John. But I'm just playing Xenoblade Chronicles. And then wait a second. I'm getting news, John. I'm getting news, fresh off the press. The new Pokemon, the new expansion. Pokemon. I know how much you love Pokemon. So let's talk about it for 2 seconds.
Pokemon.
There's a 2-part expansion. It's $30, and the first half comes out on the 17th. They dropped that news like they were just like, hey, it's coming like in 2 weeks or whatever.
Is it more Pokemans?
It's called the Isle of Armor. So instead of them doing like the Ultra version of it or the Fire Red or the VP or whatever, they're just doing it with a DLC pack, which I think is a way better idea because it's cheaper.
It's like what Kingdom Hearts did. They're like, you know what? Instead of releasing like a whole nother Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind by itself, we're just gonna release this definitive.
Yeah, and it's for the better. And this. What's really cool is they're adding a whole because they've added these open areas now so it's not just like straight up linear. Yeah, I mean the story's linear, but like the wild areas, which are these you can actually control the camera, like pan it around yourself
On a Pokemon?
On Sword and Shield, and then they're adding another wild area, an Isle of Armor, so a whole nother island you get to go to. They're adding in a bunch of Pokemon they took out, like old school like Scyther and Figgin some of the a lot of the doggos they took out. They're adding the doggos back in. Just looks really great. I'm excited. I don't give a shit. There's a lot of haters out there that were like, "Oh, if you're Game Freak sucks."
Oh my gosh.
Blah 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 blah.
The Pokemon fan base is pretty vitriol. Like, it's just like, guys, you play a game where you train little animals to fight each other to the death. Let's be civil, okay?
Well, and it's just so ridiculous because there's not like people act like they're so hardcore, but it's like. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The two worst fan bases ever are Pokemon and Star Wars, and I will die on that hill.
Well, you won't have to die on that hill because they'll kill you on that hill.
I love Pokemon and I love Star Wars. And the funniest part about those franchises,
about Star Wars anymore.
Both of those franchises are just all they're trying to do is just have a good time. You're just trying. It's just fun. It's just pure fun. They're not trying to be like
business.
They're not trying to be super artistic. They're not trying to be super like make some sort of statement or point or whatever. It's just fun. Just goddamn fun. And they won't even let me have fun with my damn Pokemons and my Star Wars. I just want to sit in this Star Wars, watch a Star Wars, and I want to go play a Pokemon. I want to catch a Pokemon, and then I don't want to post online. Hey, I'm playing Pokemon Sword. It's really fun. And someone's like, oh, you played Game Freak, you garbage human being. I'm gonna kill myself.
Here's the trick. Let them kill themselves.
Oh, never thought of it that way.
Yeah, don't fight it. Don't engage. Just let them kill themselves. Natural selection. They won't be around anymore.
Oh, but they will because they become more powerful.
I heard. I think it was a. I don't know if it was a rumor or I didn't follow through on it because I fell out of the Pokemon game. But they're remaking Diamond and Pearl.
Is that true?
That's what I've heard, which is cool because that was the last one I played that I really, really enjoyed. So, hello, maybe.
Those are the ones. Those are like one of the few that I totally skipped. I have no. Yeah, I have no like. I think I bought Diamond at one point and played a little of it, and I enjoyed what I did play. But I just never came back to it. I mean, because so many Pokemon games are like the same. The
exact.
Especially the first part of the game is like, okay, this is the same. Like, because it's like I think Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out like right after the Diamond Pearl, so like they're the same game. And I was like, oh, this is just basically like.
Yeah.
I know that it's different. There's different Pokemon. Yeah.
It's not. It's not. Like, let's be honest. It's not. Like. Yeah, but I mean, that's what I think the same thing funny about like Animal Crossing. It's like
it's all the same.
It's iterative. It's like an iterative saga. It's like, but if you go into that expecting that, be fine. But if you're looking for like every game to be different, like come on, man, you're in the wrong fan base. You're in the wrong game.
It's the same thing with Mario Kart and Smash Brothers.
Yeah,
all those things. It's like they're just. The new one is probably the better one to play, just because.
It's just the best iteration. Yeah,
that's why I think it's crazy. It's like they finally gave us in Pokemon Sword and Shield. We finally got this like big open environment that everybody's been asking for, where you can walk around and find Pokemon in their natural habitat.
That's not what I wanted.
A Gyarados is like swimming by you, and you're like, holy shit, he's like level 60, and you're like, whoa, it's like almost like that Xenoblade thing where you see that big monster, and you're like, I can't do that yet.
That giant werewolf.
And they finally gave us like, I know it's not perfect and it doesn't look like everyone was like wanting like they were wanting Breath of the Wild Pokemon, or they were wanting like some sort of like PS4 looking Pokemon game. I'm like, dude, it's just not gonna be that, like whatever. The other bit of news, speaking of remakes and remasters, and they just announced today that the Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning is getting a remaster. We don't know yet. It seems like it's going to be more of a remake, but I don't know. Probably just a remaster. And it's coming August this year. And this is a weird one because this game had this was a huge collaborative effort. Did you ever play the original on 360?
I was always told, well, it came on PS3 too.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was the weaker version, as most.
No, they were pretty much the same.
Really?
But
I was always told to play it, and it looked cool, but I never did.
It was kind of a Chrono Trigger style thing where you had a whole bunch of different composers and directors and people that worked on all these different projects kind of coming together. Todd McFarlane did all the he did a lot of the artwork and the you know, all the aesthetic of the game is based, you know, all just taught as McFarlane. And the guy who made the game is like an owner of a basketball team or something. Like he's like a famous coach or I don't even know, dude. Let me know in the comments. But like, there's just all kinds of crazy stuff that happens. So I know a lot of people were like, "Where, you know, that game didn't sell well. It was really good."
Yeah, it became kind of a cult.
Yeah, which is weird that it was a cult classic because it was a huge budget game with a bunch of like big names behind it. So yeah, and it just, people were like, it's never going to see a remake or a remaster because it had too many of these different people working on it. It had too much like licensing issues, and they're not going to be able to do it again. But they're doing it, and it was announced officially today. I'm excited.
That's pretty cool. That's unexpected.
Yes, it very like I was one of the last games I'd ever think I'd see like that. Because I knew how much shit went into that game.
But like that last gen. I mean, there were some pretty cool games that I wouldn't mind getting remastered.
Yeah,
it'd be cool to get a remaster of El Shaddai. Did you ever play that one?
No.
It was like,
is that the one where it's kind of like religious?
Yeah, it was like a beat 'em up. Not with beat 'em up, but it's kind of like Devil May Cry. Yeah.
Yeah, and it
was kind of surrealist. Yeah, it was like this weird surrealist kind of paint imagery to it.
And you're
super
in like
weird
or
game.
Something.
Yeah, it was like the one of the characters is like the devil, but he's a guy in like a suit and he talks on the phone, like talks on his cell phone all the time. It's very Japanese, super weird.
Did I play it? Did they have a demo? I feel like I played a demo, but I didn't play the like full game. Demo. But I was really intrigued by what I played, and it was one of those I kind of always wanted to go back and check it out.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool little gems last gen that that could really do well for at least just shining up, you know.
Yeah, weirdly enough, last gen is probably the most like games that I feel like I missed.
Yeah.
Like, which is weird. Like, I know I've heard a lot about Spec Ops: The Line was like one of those games that a lot of people were like, man, the story was amazing. Like, yeah, the gunplay was just kind of standard third-person shooter, but like, there's like all kinds of crazy twists and the horrors of war and just all kinds of crazy shit that goes on in that game. And I've always wanted to play it, but I'm like, I don't want to play it on my PS3.
I downloaded it for free on my PS3 at some point. I don't know how I got it for free.
I think it was free. It was like a free game one.
Yeah,
because that happened. I did too, and I played through like the first level, and then I like kind of.
It's always brought up in congruence with Sons of Liberty because they cover some of the same thematic stuff. I never played this stuff. War is shitty. War is shitty, and some people they just like killing people. The end.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Speaking of killing people, I have killed no people because I'm playing Xenoblade Chronicles, the definitive
killed a lot of
edition,
time.
and the Minato cannot slice through human flesh.
I love that. That's seriously the first opening area is such a great, like, I don't know, it's great. I love the storytelling in that.
For those uninitiated, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition is a remaster, almost a remake, but it's a remaster.
Yeah, it's a definitive remaster.
Very heavily remastered Wii game. It came out on the Wii and then the 3DS in 2015. Wii, 2012 in Wii, 2015 on the 3DS, now 2020 on the Switch. But they completely redid all the character models and all the textures, and the game still looks a little rough around the edges, but man, for a game that used to be a Wii game, it looks great.
Yeah, for a game that's like 7 years old now, and it was already dated technologically when it came out, the game looks great.
And it's a Japanese role-playing game that was one of the first games I remember dabbling with open world stuff that wasn't like a Western game. Because other than like Oblivion and stuff, like
I don't know, you rarely agree with me on this, but I feel like it's more. It's not really open world. It's like large zones, like the way Final Fantasy 12 did it.
Yeah, it's not open world.
I think that's the best way to approach open world, honestly, because I get open world fatigue really easily when it comes to video games. So if it's just large segments like Xenoblade or Final Fantasy 12, like I feel like it's more digestible chunks of areas. Like, oh, okay, I've explored this area. Next area, please. Instead of like, wow, this big map. Oh my god, I don't know what to do.
Cool things that Xenoblade introduced was, of course, it's very relatable to Final Fantasy 12. That's like, if someone's like, what is it? I mean, that's what I would tell them. I'd say it's
even the combat is
British voice acting. It's got similar combat. It's it's like the open-ish world, but not really. Xenoblade's a little more free in the world because one of the coolest things about Xenoblade is I remember like accidentally falling off a really high cliff and being like, well, damn it, I didn't save. And then I just watched my character fall for like ever. And then I just land in a giant lake. And I'm like, what? I didn't die? And then just like, I remember being able to just swim around and like climb back up to where I was. And that's what's cool is almost all of the game, you can just like fall off a ledge and still be fine if you can survive the fall damage that you get. But
it's pretty lenient fall damage.
You have to fall for a real long time to die.
It's pretty
most
lenient.
of the time, and if there's this one area that's like got all these waterfalls, and it was like telling me it's like, okay, you gotta follow this trail all the way down to get to the thing. Cute. And then I was like, no, and I just jumped off the cliff and I fell forever. And it almost kind of invokes kind of like a Zelda-ish kind of thing where you just like want to go to the top of that cliff and jump off into the waterfall or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just kind of an open-ish world action RPG in the with a combat system kind of like also sort of like Knights of the Old Republic, kind of in that vein.
Yeah, it's definitely, its combat system definitely gets its DNA from computer RPGs.
Yeah,
definitely tell, because it's kind of like that BioWare.
It's almost like
MMO
the first JRPG that took from Western RPGs. That was like, oh, this is cool, and that's kind of what Dragon's Dogma did too. It's like one of the first ones that did that, where you're like, oh, they
especially took the aesthetic too from Dragon's Dogma. Very much took the aesthetic of Western RPGs.
Whereas Xenoblade still keeps that aesthetic, whether or not it's the new aesthetic or the old one. Which the old one is much more vagrant story, kind of that Final Fantasy 12, face look, but the new art style is much more anime.
Yeah, it's more in line with Xenoblade 2.
Mm-hmm.
Which I can't say I'm the biggest fan of the art style.
I
like the character models of the main characters. It's just like, wow, I better collect all the waifus with unrealistically large breasts. I'm like, this is not this is kind of disturbing, honestly, right now.
Pyra's tits in that game are absolutely nuts, dude. I played that game for like 90 hours, and still 90 hours in, every cutscene, I would always be like, God,
I know it's not even like it's
so
so ridiculous. I mean, to say that is the most unrealistic thing in a game like Xenoblade, just like, how is she functioning? I know she's like a robot blade person, but like, how is she not knocking stuff over all the time?
If she's meant to be this epitome of like warrior technology, and she's supposed to be this special weapon. What in God's name is she doing with a chest that big like that?
And all the other blades. I mean, I don't know. It was just way too like anime waifu like heavy.
Yeah,
like,
I agree. Every character.
Not my bag.
That's why I kind of liked. And then you have Mithra, who's the other side of the coin, and her boobs weren't nearly as big, even though they were still ridiculously big. It was just like they just weren't as big. Yeah. It was like it was so weird. And Pyra's such an innocent character too, so it's like it's really strange.
I don't like it.
But
I don't like.
Anyways, back to Xenoblade 1.
Enough about the problems I have with 2.
And I have a lot of problems with 2 as well. Back to Xenoblade 1 though. I mean, so this is about a 60-hour to 120-hour long RPG, depending on how much time
60
you put
or
in it.
double that. There are a lot of side quests to do.
A lot. And they've made it a lot easier to do them now.
For the most part, yeah, they've made them a lot easier.
I'm about 20 hours in.
I think I'm like 14.
I actually just discovered a glitch. I'm level 51 right now. Because I found this weird glitch on YouTube. It was like basically you can go into this cave and kind of glitch through this wall and go to a spot you're not supposed to go till like late game.
Nice.
And basically all, you know how you get XP when you discover a place?
Yeah.
It's these hidden places, and so you're getting like thousands of XP just walking into a room, and it's like bring, and I like leveled up. I was like level 30, and I leveled up 20 levels.
I think I'm at level 26 or 7 right now.
Yeah, I leveled up 20 levels just from like walking in 2 different rooms, and then it's like you can just teleport back to where you were. It's actually a really easy glitch too. Like it's not, and apparently it existed in the original.
Really?
They didn't ever patch it out. They were just like, whatever. If you want
whatever. One thing about mentioning making the game easier, there's a casual mode, which I activated, and I'm having a blast because I'm 36 and I do not care about proving my video game skills to anyone.
That's kind of why I went and did that glitch.
I was kind of just like, you know what? I just want to enjoy. I just want to enjoy the story. Because I did all the side quests for the opening area, which I usually do because I actually really like exploring that opening area. But then after I got to the plains area, that big second area, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna switch this to casual. And
the game can get pretty brutal. It has some really it's very famous for being, or infamous for having those just difficulty spikes where it's just like, okay, I'm cruising, I'm doing pretty good, and then you just hit that one boss who just like demolishes you, and you're like, man, why? And you're like, oh, something must have, I didn't do that right, and then you're like, oh, I just need to level up, like that's it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a boss fairly early on with a certain Mechon. The Mechon are the bad guys. For those uninitiated, it's the game takes place on top of two titans.
Probably one of the coolest like settings.
Yeah. Like
just an amazing setting. I remember when I heard about the setting, I was immediately just like, this is Xeno, all right. Like,
yeah. So
such a weird setting.
So the humanoid characters, all the like living, like, you know, organic beings live on this titan called the Bionis, which is, you know, bio means life, and so it's like the you know, the good side, I guess, the living side, and then the other titan that exists, they're both dead. They're like in, like, you know, clashed, and then they're just dead. The other one has, you know, mechanical life on it, and then up until this game, they sort of existed separately. I don't think they're called the Mechon. It's kind of like Transformers.
A little bit. Well, it's like these two titans, enormously sized, like continent size, were like fighting, and they killed each other, and millennia later, life forms started growing on their dead bodies.
Yeah,
and then it's just like civilizations grew and fell on their bodies, and one of them's biological and one of them is mechanical. It's just such an amazing, just like, wow, that's like, I could see that in a sci-fi story from the 60s. Like, it's such a weird, like, what the hell?
It's such an engaging, it's just so engaging right off the bat. You're like, this is already so cool. And then throughout the game, you know, these giant open areas, these huge fields are like the knee of the Bionis, and then like the shin of
you can like look up and see like the covering shadow of the Bionis's head,
and then there's this whole forest area where the Nopon live, which are like these little Ewok type characters.
They are like the Ewoks. They're just as annoying too. Sorry, I have.
I think the Nopon are a little more annoying than the Ewoks, but I've never actually had to like have an Ewok in my party in a game, so
that's true. They probably would be very annoying.
And they live in this giant tree, and the only way to like keep going up the Bionis is you have to like go up in this tree and then like come up through the top of that tree, and it's like a giant ocean. It's kind of crazy. It's like in Kashyyyk, the Wookiee homeworld, how like everything on that planet is actually on top of giant trees, even the oceans.
Yeah, the biology, the
it's
geology
so cool.
of the world. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. So now we're like I'm on like I guess the neck or the head or whatever, and it's like it's the Aerith Sea, and it's just this giant endless like ocean. But there's like it's such a cool like color palette that game has as well. Just like some of the areas just have.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's almost pastel sometimes.
Yeah, like the swamp area with like all that like just like luminous moss and shit. I love it, man. I'm having a blast with it. It's such a great time to just, and it's such a perfect RPG to pick up because you can save anywhere. You can pick it up. You can do like one fucking side quest. You can play it for like 5 or 10 minutes and then put it down. And because the Switch has sleep mode, again, sleep mode's like
the best thing.
It's like the most ingenious thing ever because it just
it's like the only way carryover from the 3DS. Like the 3DS, you close that bad boy and you don't have to worry about saving your game.
But the 3DS, I've noticed the 3DS dies way quicker in that rest mode than because if you put Switch in that rest mode, it's pretty much off. It's just drawing a tiny bit of power.
It reminds me of the PSP then. The PSP, I mean, one time I had a PSP in sleep mode for like 2 weeks. And I put that baby back on, and like it still had like a full battery.
I'm getting a PSP tomorrow, bud. So
heck yeah.
I'll have my review up for the PSP.
PSP.
I've played one PSP one time. Literally,
if you're gonna pick up Dissidia, pick up the second one. If you're gonna pick up Dissidia. Because the second one has the first one included with it. So
anybody else has any PSP newbie tips? Let me know.
Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions.
Yeah,
the remake. Get that because that's the best version of that game you can find.
Yeah, that's the one that's also. Is that not on the 3DS or DS?
No.
There's another Final Fantasy Tactics.
Is Advance. Tactics Advance.
And then there was the one that's on the phone. That's War of the Lions, right? But it's like probably a bad port.
It's not a bad port, honestly.
I got Chrono Trigger on the phone the other day. It was like 99 cents, and everyone was like, "It's terrible, it's horrible on the phone." And I played it; it's fine. Like when it launched, it was real bad. Like it was real glitchy. They changed they tried to like update the art style or something, and people were like, "Nope," and they're like, "Sorry." They changed one
it
of
back.
the best looking art styles ever. The most like ageless. One of the most ageless games of all time. Like, we need to change it.
And like they got a freaking like you're really gonna like just take Amano's work and be like, nah, people didn't like that about this game.
No, nobody.
That definitely didn't like
it. He wasn't very successful in Japan. I mean, he just wasn't.
Something about balls. I don't know.
Yeah, well, dragons like balls. Speaking of dragons, I wanted to speak a little bit about the soundtrack in Xenoblade. Because some would say that is almost the best part of the game. It's so fucking good.
It is very good. It's extremely catchy.
It's so catchy, so you get the song stuck in your head. It does that cool thing where it mixes those like really mellow Celtic type songs with like driving like heavy metal guitar that'll just come in when you get into a really high level battle and stuff. And it's cool. And there's something about that game that I really like is just seeing. I love the idea of you're running on you're already in these big open environments, and then early or even early on in the game you'll see these giant dudes just roaming about the Bionis.
Level 75.
Yeah, and you look at them and they're level like 80 and stuff, and you're like, holy crap! Like this is something I might do. I'm gonna do you're gonna come back there later.
I've heard people like complain, like really complain about those roaming super baddies.
Why?
But honestly, their radius of sight is pretty short. So like,
and not all of them
don't be an idiot.
Aggressive.
Yeah. And you can tell the offensive ones, but like they're only going to really attack you if you go right up to them. It's like they're there just for basically for world flavor.
Just and what's cool is this is one of those games where, you know, so many JRPGs are synonymous with canonymous. We're gonna make up a word. So many the JRPGs are known for having those like kind of punishing save systems where you're like, you go up to a crystal or whatever to save your game, and then like, you know, if you die, you literally have to reload your save. In this game, you don't reload a save. If you die, you keep all the XP that you've had. The game does not penalize you, and you just start back at the last monument you were at. It's so genius. It's like, why do more games not do this? Because why would you punish someone for, you know, like, I almost wish like Dark Souls would do that, you know, like I think that those games would be even more fun if, like, you know, you didn't get past this certain part, but like, man, just let me keep my XP or whatever. Like, don't be a dick.
Casual, wow.
No, I get it. The whole point of those games is to rob you of your XP because you suck.
Get good, Robin. Get good.
But that's the thing. Xenoblade's not an easy game, as we've said. It's not easy at all. But at all. So talk to that now. At all, it's not easy.
Speaking of save, though, what's up with 3 save slots? Why do games do that?
I don't know. Well, is there any downside to just adding more? Is there something that
I don't know. Because the only companies I ever see do that are always Japanese like RPG developers. So I don't know if it's some sort of like throwback to like.
Well, I don't know. But back in like Final Fantasy VII had like 1 million slaves, like 99.
Well, it's more of like throwback to like Super Nintendo, where it's like, yeah, you get 3 or 4 save slots.
But see, I kind of get that because Nintendo was running off of the proprietary, like, whatever was in the cartridge, you know, because everything would save on the cartridge back then. But
nowadays it's like saves are like incredibly minuscule compared to anything else that's in the game. So I don't know. I noticed that. I'm like, why do I only... Why?
It doesn't honestly, it doesn't bother me at all because I generally only do two saves at a time. And I do, you know, basically every time I save over the other one. That way I'm like just kind of flip-flopping.
It's still strangely unexplainable. It's just like, why?
In a game that has so many, that's known for being so convenient, and so it has so many modern, like, is almost like started so many modern trends. It's weird that that is one that it's still like,
especially for a game that's so large with so much content, it'd be like, give me more than 3 slots, please.
Yeah,
I don't really need more than 3, but
it's not that you need it.
Like, why would you not? It's like, why the limitation? I don't know. That was just a thing I noticed. I'm like, what the hell?
Who is your favorite character? There's only one right answer.
Probably the little Ewok guy.
Hit upon Ricky.
Actually, I really like Shulk.
Shulk's a good main character.
Yeah, he's a good main
character. For some reason, I used in my head he was more annoying.
That's because you're used to. That's what we called Xenoblade Chronicles 2 effect.
Yeah, no, but even when I started 2, I was like, no, I think Rex is like less annoying than Shulk, and I was like, no. Rex is so much more annoying than Shulk because
so much more annoying.
Because like Rex used to shout because you know that it's funny that there's so much there's people that talk about how much there's too much shouting during battle, you know.
There is,
and there is. You can turn it off,
which
you can turn on Japanese or whatever you want to do. But honestly, 2 was worse. It literally, Rex would say, "We will win. We will defeat them with the power of friendship." He would say that like every fucking battle. And then there was another. There were these human enemies that would wear armor that you would fight in Xenoblade 2, and they would just go. They would be like, "Kill them! Kill them! Kill!" Like they say like over and over. I think it got patched out maybe eventually, but it was like I
think I remember what area you're talking about.
Yeah, it was just like he'd say it just over and over and over again. And that's kind of my other thing is just the dungeon areas in this game are so much more like digestible than they were in 2. to me, it's kind of strange how much this game is. I thought I was going to go back and do it and be like, man, I wish all these things from 2 were in here. But the few things from 2 that were actually pretty good have made it into this version. Some of the quest tracking stuff, and they've actually done it better because they've done away with that stupid arrow.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And they've just given us this like, hey, here's a line. This is the way to the quest that you're trying to get to.
Just look at the mini map, okay?
But yeah, and the other thing, I mean, Xenoblade Chronicles has always been bad at side quests, and I don't think it means to be good at them.
No.
Because
the Xeno series,
to be busy work.
Yeah, the Xeno series, which is weird because the Xeno series never really had side quests until Chronicles, until Blade Chronicles, because Gears had a few but they weren't really side quests as much as they were like. You could finish a character's arc over here if you wanted to. It was kind of like in Final Fantasy VI, where like after Kefka wins, and you can pull all the party together if you want, or you can just grab a few and then go after Kefka.
Run straight to Kefka.
You know what I mean? Like you're given a little bit of like in Xenogears, there's like a character or two that like you can follow through on their story or not. In Saga, had a few side quests, but like. It was just to net some cool gear, but it wasn't until Chronicles that they went full bananas with their. They're just like, we're gonna have 8,000 side quests. It's like, what?
So
give me quality over quantity. I feel like they should have done.
So for the people who are wondering, like maybe just like what the upgrades are that are most notable for me, I mean obviously the visual upgrade is the most significant, and that's prevalent throughout. And I know I've seen some people, the game looks a little, it shows its age a little bit, especially when you're in big, wide open areas. You can see off in the distance, there's some, stuff happening. But come on, this game was on the Wii.
Not a remake.
This game notoriously was pretty ugly when it came out, just because it was out it came out like when HD had become a big thing amongst PS3 and 360 started using the HD cables too. Anyways, so that's big. The soundtrack has been completely remastered, but to such a loving extent to where it's not overdone. It's just like it sounds so elegant that you would almost never even notice that it's different. But
some of the songs I don't like as much as the original. Like one of the melodrama songs that plays during dramatic cutscenes.
Is it Is it the one that plays the like high pitched electric guitar notes?
Yeah.
That one? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like that one as much as the original. Some of them.
It's very reminiscent of the instrumentation in 2, but which I would, to me, 2's soundtrack's the best part.
Of the game, probably.
Yes. Yeah, like whereas Xenoblade 1 is the best. Like to me, it's such a like I can pick so many different things that I love about the game, whether it's the cast or the story or the setting or the soundtrack. But like Xenoblade 2, it's not hard for me to be like, soundtrack is hands down the best part of that game. The rest of it's almost all a step down. And here's another thing about Xenoblade Chronicles: if people haven't played it, you can change and customize your character's look.
That's my favorite part of it.
And you can even equip armor now, and then you can choose to look like this other armor, but like have this other armor equipped. So the aesthetic part of your character is wearing the armor.
You have a cosmetic armor you can apply, and then you have like actual stat armor.
As an RPG,
every game should have that.
As an RPG fashion whore, dude, I will sit there for like a long time in the menus, just like, do I want these boots or do I want these boots? Like, I really like these boots. Yeah. Like these like match the colors. Like,
I want my whole team to be shirtless.
Actually, one of the reviews one of the guys I follow, there's a guy on his channel. His name is Jay, like Jay, and so his channel is called JRPG. And it's pretty funny. But he pretty much only reviews JRPGs, and he reviewed this. But like his characters in every single scene, he's like, so this is my gameplay. Every single that they all have their shirts on. everybody. And he's like, hey, you guys always, or he's British. So he's like, you always think I'm perverted, but you know, the men all have their shirts off, just like all the women. I just like everyone to not wear shirts. He's like, I like to be free. He's like, I don't want anyone to have shirts on. He's like, I'm not wearing a shirt right now. So
I just have the girl characters not having shirts.
Wow, what a bigot.
That's the wrong word, but let's try that again.
What a sexist.
There we go. That's it. Did you say sexist?
We're making up all kinds of words today, folks.
Sexist.
Stick with us here.
Is that your British? Sexist. I thought he's sexist.
Sexist.
Yeah. But I mean, Dunban has no shirt because it's Dunban.
He probably looks like the most natural without a shirt.
No shirt, eye patch.
Did you see the big like how IGN mispronounced like all their names in that review? And then so like every review that I've watched since then, like Nintendo Live and GameSpot's review, they all were like at the very end they're like, you know, because they pronounced instead of Ryan, which, you know, the thing is it would be forgivable for them to mispronounce a name in the review maybe if the names aren't repeated over and over and over again. If you put 100 hours into this game, how in the world would you not think this character's name is Ryan? How would you not think this character's name is Dunban and not Duncan? Like they call him Duncan in the review. They call Ryan Rain, and they call they call the Nopon the Nupon. They call him something crazy, and then they redo it. And they redo the video review and still call Dunban. And I'm like, he's not Dunban. It's not Dunban.
Cinnabon.
Yeah, it's like there's so many, but like I saw like all these different outlets making fun of him, and then Nintendo Life or whatever. I really like Nintendo Life, but like they posted just a poll, you know, they're on their YouTube, and it was like, who's your favorite character in Xenoblade? And it was like Rain, Duncan, the Nupons. It was, and dude, I laughed so much. I was like, God, it just it was great.
I feel like his name could be Duncan, but it's just a bad translation.
But you know what's the thing about it is Schultz says his name so much, and because it's so British, that B is so like in your face. So it's like it's Dunban. It's like it's so obvious that it's not Duncan because it doesn't sound anything like that. So I don't know. It is pull into question whether or not this guy actually played this game.
Well, that leads to another question of like how much do you consider, like, does someone have to beat a game to review it?
I don't think so. I think it depends on the game and the nature of the game. I mean, like, I think, you know, I think it's just being transparent. But I mean, the fact that you and me, like, I put 20 hours into this game. You've put how many hours? Would you say like 15 maybe?
Yeah.
And those names are so ingrained in my head. Just from those few hours, and like I never beat the original game. That's why I'm excited to play this one again. But I got pretty far. You know, I got
pretty far. I got
like
to
50 hours or something.
I got to the Sword Valley.
I think that's about where I got.
Yeah. I remember getting to the Sword Valley and then never finishing the game.
And I just have to say again, still one of the best intros to JRPG in my opinion. I love the intro of this game. It's so cool because you get to play as the infamous Dunban. Duncan.
Duncan.
It's just so cool. It's just such a cool intro. I don't know. It's like, and then like what you said in your notes, it's like what's the guy's name? Not Dunban or Stash.
Oh, Mumcar.
Mumcar. You're like, how, with a name like Mumcar, how could he not be evil? And it's like just something very. It's so Mumcar. Like it's so obvious. It's such a like.
And he has like a 1980s like cartoon villain voice. He's like,
Mumcar. It's such a classic like insta villain. Like he just zooms in on him. He's like, It's like you have these two hero characters. One of them is obviously
Dunban.
Dunban.
I have a mustache too. And then
what's his family?
He has like sunken eyes and
yeah, he's got the sunken eyes.
Yeah.
He's like evil. He's like little. He's got his weapons are claws, man.
Yeah.
His weapons are claws. Has there ever been a good guy whose weapons were claws? Huh?
Wolverine.
He's not like a good guy though. Next episode,
that's like saying that's like saying
Wolverine.
Dirty Harry's not a good guy. Okay, he cleaned the streets. Okay,
Right, and Wolverine took his fucking line. You know,
Yeah.
you gotta ask yourself one question:
yeah.
do I feel lucky?
I
Well,
think
do you, punk?
Wait, do you feel lucky? I thought it was, do I feel lucky?
Who feels lucky in this room? Yeah, damn it, what is the name of the guy with the stash? Why can't
Dixon.
Dixon. I was like, I know it starts with a D as well.
Dixon.
Dixon.
Like
Have you seen Tiger King at all?
No, but I'm familiar enough with it from the memory.
Okay, Joe Exotic. Every time I see Dixon now, like that's all I see because he has like his fashion is very.
You need to meme that now.
Because
Put your name on the bottom. Because now it's going to be a thing.
Because he even has like the blonde hair. He's got the like that mustache and that cheesy like he's got that like that
It's
almost like white guy who likes to wear a lot of turquoise.
It reminds me of do you remember the first episode of Arrested Development where
Yes.
David Cross's character like, accidentally gets on the gay boat with the signs?
Yeah.
That's what
Oh yeah.
he's like, and his wife's like, "Hey, that looks like one of my shirts." It looks better on him.
What's around him?
Oh.
Yeah, like it's like a pirate shirt, right?
Yeah, it's like a frilly pirate thing with like white pants. It's like fashionable.
Dixon is so like I cannot believe we haven't already seen the meme of Dixon as the Tiger King or whatever. Like he just looks so much like him. It cracks me up every time I see him.
The load times in this game.
Oh, they're amazing.
They're so, dude. The fast travel load times within the same area, they're practically instant. It's amazing.
I do this thing just automatically that I didn't realize I do. When I fast travel somewhere in a video game, or when I'm loading in, I immediately like grab my phone, you know, and like I do a loading thing because like I'm just like, and every time with Xenoblade, I'm like, okay, fast travel over here, and then like grab my phone. I'm like, fucking, okay. I'm already what like
the hell? I'm already here.
It's like almost a snap of my fingers. It's crazy. And I'm like, dude,
crazy.
That's very impressive, and it's one of the most like it's the best thing for a long JRPG to have some really good load times.
Especially if you're trying to crunch some side quests, it's freaking amazing because you can just go over all the map.
And what's really cool about and you know, this is probably the last thing I'll say about it, but what's really cool about Xenoblade Chronicles is it's a long game, but because of so many of the quality of life improvements it has over other JRPGs or other open world games, whether it be fast load times or, you know, not having to worry about saving as much, you know, just because you just insta load back in when you die, to all kinds of stuff. There's a train outside and it's really loud. It's my train song. And but I think this game, like I said, it's long, but has so much meat, and a lot of it just doesn't feel like a lot of filler. And even the side quests are there for you to be like, just it's quick and it's done. And as soon as you get like if they're like, hey, it's all of that bullshit. It's like, give me 3 mushrooms or whatever. But like once you collect that 3rd mushroom, it's just a side quest complete, and you get the XP and the money, and it's done. You don't have to take it back to the guy.
Yeah, I mean you do if it's like part of a multi-stage quest.
But if it's if it's one of
those are like in the minority.
Yeah, there's only a few.
And the way that they're set up, it's nice because like if you just go to the hub area of the area, the hub where the humans are, you just collect all the side quests. You just collect all the side quests that are there, and you just go throughout the story or just explore a little bit. Like you're automatically gonna start finishing side quests.
What I like about it, at first, you know, some people are like, "Oh, I hate where, you know, side quests don't have meaning," but this one, they're not meant to. they're all, because if you look at the side quests, like in your log, it'll be like Monster Quest 2,
yes,
and Collect Quest 5, and it's like they're not trying to be The Witcher 3 in that aspect.
Yeah.
They're not trying to like
honestly they should have. I think every game should be like, in terms of side quests, every game should be like The Witcher, because
it should
like compared to grinding and leveling, like a grinding should not be a prerequisite in an RPG. Like leveling should be fun. If it's not fun, you need to tweak your XP gaining system so that it's more of a natural growth. With side quests, like they should be either engaging or they should be worth it.
And that sort of brings me to the final thing, which is like the combat, the gameplay. Really, like the combat is, you're going to do a lot of that, and if you're not into the idea of a turn-based, like it's not turn-based, but real time.
I call it a cooldown based.
Yeah, because some people, I saw a bunch of people
real time
online.
Real time cooldown based.
They were like, it's not turn-based, it's real time. But I was like, it's not real time, because you are, like waiting for stuff to happen.
It's like it's an evolution of like the HEB system, where like it's turn-based.
That's what I
turn-based in a real time. It's turn-based in real time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually, and that's another thing I think that Xenoblade Chronicles 1 does better than 2, is it has a better combat system. It's not as like,
oh my gosh.
I want to say it's not as complicated. It's a lot more easy to understand, which is a good thing, because it's not like that one. I was never playing Xenoblade 1 going, this needs to be more complicated.
Yeah. Hey, can you add 4 more levels to this? No one wants that.
There's already like arts, and then skill trees, and then weapon trees, and then gems and crystals and all this.
Gems are nice, but they're pretty optional. Honestly, you don't have to mess with gems. Which is cool.
The only problem I still have, that there is a lot of like micromanaging. I wish there was and maybe there is, maybe I just missed it, but I wish there was a maximize thing where I could just maximize, optimize. Sorry,
I totally agree.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm just like, just give me the best things.
Yeah, because that's been a thing since Final Fantasy 6.
2?
It's been around since like the early 90s.
4 has like the optimized. Does that not?
Maybe 4 had the optimizing. It was either 4 or 6, but like either way, it's been since like the early 90s, like since JRPGs have had a little button that says optimize gear, and then all your best gear.
And like, I get it. Sometimes
you can even tweak it. You can be like optimized for ethic defense, or optimized for regular defense, optimized for offense. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but that would be a nice addition.
That would be, and there's a lot of like you can spend a lot of times in the menu system, which of course some people can see that as a plus. I know a lot of people like to tinker, like you could in 12 and 7. There was I know in 7 there was times where I was in the menu system for like
But JRPGs, that's part of the fun in the JRPG, is like it's a good part of the game is spent in the menu system. I mean, heck, even like in Final Fantasy in the ATB years.
Every time you say ATB, dude, I think you're saying HEB.
We live in Texas.
The HEB.
But like the older Final Fantasies, even the combat itself was menu based. That whole game was in a menu.
Yeah,
there's something to be said about the enjoyment of like moving cursors around and selecting things.
And it's funny that it is. I think that kind of combat that Xenoblade has is an evolution of turn-based, because it's like it still has the strategic element of picking your stuff, but it's basically saying like attack. You don't have to click attack. Your guy's just going to be attacking, and that's all there is to it. So you're constantly going to be attacking if you're in range, but then the strategy comes from picking an art, and like Shulk or Dunban has a really cool one, where you can basically he has this move where Gale Slash, where he just like he does this attack, and if you do that move, then you can use this other move that like if you use it right after Gale Slash, it'll cause the enemy to break.
Yeah.
And then once the enemy's broken, you can use his other move to cause the enemy to topple. And if you use those 3 in a row, the enemy's literally on the ground, vulnerable as shit, and you're doing like double damage. And it's like so cool because That's why I kind of like playing as Dunban. And that's the other thing. You can control anybody you want,
which is awesome.
And you don't even need Shulk in your party, so you can have. I've heard people say like the ideal party is like Sharla, Dunban, and
the princess.
Yeah, what's her name?
I forgot.
Mira. Miria. Whatever.
No, you're just making stuff up.
No, we're just making it up now. We're talking about the Monado. But yeah, man, I'm fucking digging the shit out of it so far. I don't see myself not playing this. The only thing I could see pulling me off of this a little bit might be
do it. Don't you do it?
Don't you fucking do it. No, I'm like not even pulling me completely off, but just like for the moment, it's like I'm tinkering around with that. You know, in a couple of weeks when the Pokemon expansion comes out and Last of Us comes out, but like Last of Us is such a different beast. Like I'm gonna need a lighthearted RPG to play while yeah. Playing through the like.
I don't know. I've heard the last act of Xenoblade gets kind of dark.
Oh, that's another thing. Xenoblade 1 is darker than the second one too.
Oh yeah.
In the story is just much darker.
The Xeno series has every game in the Xeno series loses its darkness every game. Which
see,
sucks.
I'm gonna spoil this because it's super early on in the game and it's not really a spoiler, but like there's you leave the village, you come back, and it's that classic RPG, right, where you leave the village and then the village is on fire and you go back and it's all broken. But like this one even plays with that because it's being attacked by the machines and
Mechon.
The Mechon, and then there's the Mechon with a face.
And, what's his name?
What's his name?
Metal Face. I love it. I love it. Like the main villain of the Mechon that you see in the first part of the game. His name is Metal Face. It's just such a Japanese like Metal Face. Oh no! And
he Sharla, who's like Shulk's like Tifa, right? His like childhood love interest or whatever. She like. They're trying to attack it, and they have the Monado, and that's the only way to really damage the Mechon, which is this sacred sword, which in Greek it means the one.
Well, it's actually based off of that's a whole nother whatever.
And she kind of saves the day by like she saves everybody by like getting in this mobile Gundam suit thing, and she like flies in and like shoots missiles and starts bashing the Mechon in the face, and then the Mechon just outright kills her, and you're like. Oh, there's no way she's dead. And then like you meet that Mechon later on, and he's sitting here like, of course, all the Mechon are the voice of Bob Hoskins. Like they talk like this.
Yeah, they have like a weird like Cockney.
I remember.
I'm evil, right?
He starts talking about how his metal, the blades of his fingers sliced through her hot flesh like butter. Sliced through her hot flesh like butter. And I'm just like, damn, that's really dark of you, sir. Like, she's our, so yeah, she dies early on, but yeah, he keeps taunting Shulk, and it's funny because he's so graphic and brutal when he talks to you, and then when they're talking about him, like Ryan is just like, it's time to bust that bolt head into junk scrap, like that's. Really? You're not gonna use it? Like,
you're not angrier, man.
It's just like very lighthearted about it, like, and I do love too that this is just a straight up like revenge story, and they're not trying to make revenge sound like they're not trying to make it be like, well, it's revenge, but it's like different from regular revenge. It's like no, it's just revenge for revenge's sake.
Yeah, they're just going after the guy who killed her.
And Melia is her name. Her quest is revenge too, and she's just like, it's revenge, and they're like, yeah, I'm on a quest for revenge too. Yeah, it's not like they don't try to like sugarcoat it into something.
But there's a nice like under theme of. I mean, it's a Xeno game, so it's gonna the underlying theme is gonna be fate, because that's like every game is just like fate. How are you gonna deal with fate? How are you gonna fight?
Fate and robots are going to be in the game.
Fate and robots. That's pretty much the Xeno series. And if I ever wrote like a essay about the Xeno series called Fate and Robots.
Fate and robots.
I love because when she dies, I mean, he with the Monado.
Oh yeah,
Shulk is
he
given
can
the
see
ability to see the near future, and
but he
sees
doesn't
what's
know what that
happening to
is
her.
at first.
Yeah, and he either out of like fear or confusion, or he doesn't act on this.
Because he doesn't know what he's
It's-
seeing yet, which I
Yeah.
like. They do that too, where he
Well, I
gets
don't
his
know.
first vision.
I think he knew what he was seeing, but I think he was just afraid. That's why he beats himself up so much about it. You know.
Yeah.
That's because like the next part of the story is him. Oh my god, I'm so glad I don't have to deal with Juju anymore. And hearing the name Juju over
Juju!
Juju! Oh, you have to find my brother Juju.
I've seen the future. Juju
You got to
dies.
save Juju. But yes, then it goes into like him.
Yeah, when
saving-
Juju's like, I'm leaving, it's my choice. And I'm like, good, go.
Good, go Juju.
Let me hang out with your hot sister and get the
All
fuck
these
out
cool-
of here.
Yeah, all these like cool like sci-fi fantasy character names, and then we get Juju.
Juju.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Juju.
The worst.
Juju is he's the bad guy. That's the twist.
Spoiler.
Metal face.
No,
What is the other robot? Like I always get confused because they always look the same. The other Mechon, he actually has a name.
Yeah, it's like Copperface or something.
No, it's like
Oh, it's like
Zord.
Zord. Something
Zord.
like that.
Zord.
Yeah.
It's Zord.
Zord.
And,
It's like, why does he have a name but Metalface doesn't?
yeah,
'cause
I'm
his
sure
name
we'll
is
get a
fun.
name soon enough.
His name is old.
Because he was Bronze Face for a long time or whatever. Oh, Bronze Face, dude. When I fought Zord for the first time, again, that's still early game, but like when I fought Zord for the first time, he's I remember distinctly that fight when I played this game on the Wii, and I died over and over and over again in that fight because I didn't know what the hell to do because I didn't realize that like the Monado wasn't doing any damage to him. The Monado, it does no damage.
I love the
to
way
Zord.
I love the way they incorporate the story elements into the gameplay.
Into the gameplay. Yeah,
'Cause not a lot of games do that. It's a shame because especially when you have something cool like being able to see the future. Like most games would just separate that. They'd just be like, oh, he can only see stuff like in cutscenes because that's just the way it is. But this game's
Right.
like no. During tough fights or boss fights, you can see what the enemy is going to do, and you can either counter it. You can you can actually go up to your ally and be like,
which
hey.
it took me forever before to even. I didn't even know you could do that in the first time I played that game for like the longest time.
it's such a cool idea.
And
So
and even stuff like the Telethia can see because since they read your mind. These are like these like dragon creatures.
yeah,
They can read Shulk's mind, and so he uses the Monado to try to when he's fighting him. And then, like, they still like beat him up because he's like, "What's going on? How can I get hit by this thing? It's reading my mind or whatever." So like, you gain a new ability to. It's like, and it basically it turns into it's like a dispel move or whatever. But
Yeah,
like,
basically.
it's still in the story, and then it's also in the combat. And, and so you have to use this move called Purge to keep them from reading your mind because they're using an ability. And basically, it's purging their mind of that ability to read your mind or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know that. Yeah, that's another example. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's very
Really digging this game. I'm excited to play more, John.
Me too.
And I want to thank you guys for watching this this slightly uneventful but very opinionated and hot podcast.
Oh yeah, we
were arguing the whole time there.
Like for a second there, I was about to take my shirt off when we started talking about characters that took their shirt off. Like,
We were talking about it earlier, but like I do. It's kind of like when we agree, it's a lot more boring.
I know.
We're both just like, yeah, the game's good. No, it's
Like,
really good.
no,
John,
really,
I
yeah,
think
it's good.
really good. And
Yeah, I think it's good too.
I agree,
It's
John.
all right.
That's the end of the podcast. Yeah, no, you should disagree with me more often. We should.
I disagree.
Wow. Now I got to hit the message boards, John. I'm too mad. Well, thanks for sticking around and listening to us gabby. And I've been the Cardinal, and this is.
I'm the Maidable.
And we're glad you stuck around. And you guys go have a safe night. And don't do steroids.
Don't do anything that we wouldn't do.
Yeah.
Would do.
That's all of them.
Yeah.
I do everything. Every night, I do all of them. Everything. Every drug. Boom. Every night. Bada boom. I'm on all the drugs.
Are you okay?
No. Bye.